Secretary of State, Tobias Reed.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you all for being here and for showing up, showing your voices. The thing that is most exciting here is the contrast here, because this administration wants us to be silent. They want us to lose hope. They want us to give up. But I know, as a result of everybody being here, that we will not give up. This administration wants you to think that they don't care what anyone else thinks. But I want to let you in on a little secret. They care. They care a whole lot. They care so much, they would rather win a messaging war than win an actual war in Ukraine. Why is this? Because they know something really important that all of you know too, that they need us way more than we need them. That is the truth. Now, I want to make sure you're thinking about this as well. They are manipulating our country. They are lying to people who voted for them, and they're trying to demoralize all of us who did not vote for them. They know that it is us, the people, who actually hold all the cards. Look, their factories aren't going to run if they don't have workers, right? Their companies are going to collapse if no one buys their cars, and if no one buys their corrupt crypto coins. They lose their ability to rig the government, to line their pockets, and scam taxpayers when they lose elections. That is why it's so important for us to come together tonight, like we are. That's why it's so important for unions to be active and fighting back, as you said. Look, this country and every step we've taken to make it a better place, whether that was abolishing slavery, the labor movement, making sure that women have the right to vote, expanding civil rights, every one of those steps is further proof of the truth that the power of the people is so much greater than the people in power. Am I right? The president knows this. His people know this. And that is part of why he is so scared. He's scared of what's going to happen when people like us stand up and take our power back. I've had a front row seat to this over the last 100 days. I have watched directly when this administration is doing everything they can in a cynical effort to take away your right to hold them accountable. They are practically inviting our adversaries and our foreign enemies to attack our elections because they've gutted cybersecurity protections for American election officials. How do we feel about that? And as if that is not enough, just this last week, we were told we have to push their anti-DEI nonsense on Oregonians if we want to get money for things like security cameras and bulletproof glass in elections officials. How do we feel about that? These supposed strong men are making our country weaker because they are scared that they might be held accountable in 2026. Are we going to make that happen? This is more proof of what I've been saying all along, that when people have power, they lose. Just look at what they are doing to make the poor poorer and the rich richer. I don't know if you saw this study that came out recently. It says that 19 families in this country have the same wealth as the bottom 50% of the American population combined. Let me say that again. 19 families versus 170 million Americans. You can't tell me those 19 families worked harder than 170 million people. You can't tell me those billionaires are doing more for communities than the first responders who show up when Oregonians are hurt or need help. You can't tell me those billionaires are doing more for our economy than the union workers who are building houses and cars and roads and bridges. And you certainly can't tell me those billionaires are doing more for our future than the talented and dedicated educators, many of whom are here tonight, are doing to help make sure that young people are prepared to compete in the 21st century economy. And yet, everything they do seems to be aimed at making those families richer and your families and my family poorer. Look at these things, the on-again, off-again tariffs, the billionaire tax cuts, stealing Social Security and Medicaid from working people who have labored for decades to earn their retirement. They're making our lives harder, or trying to, so we can't, as you all said, fight back. If you're spending an hour on the bus to commute because you can't afford to live close to work, that's an hour you can't spend organizing. If you're taking a weekend to become a car mechanic via YouTube because you can't pay the mechanic, those are dollars that you can't use for other purposes. If you're spending your last pennies on $10 eggs, that's money you can't use to support the causes you care about. And my friends, these are the conditions that make our government less accountable to the people. And we know what happens in that situation. Our government is not in tune with the will of the people. And